Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. The Search for Rocket, basically, is what this turned into. Thought it was going to be a completely different movie, but it was still solid. They advertised it as big as Endgame. Maybe not quite that big, but a good solid third movie. Usually there's a curse of the third movie. Third movie usually is nowhere near as good as the first movie, sometimes nowhere near as good as the second movie. Third movies are oftentimes just a money grab. This movie was actually kind of solid, and it leaned towards some big things in the potential MCU. I'll mark it as spoilers when I'm starting to talk about that. But in this movie, everybody has to band together to help Quill, who's having a really tough time dealing with Gamora being gone. And then that's really where the movie starts, and Adam Warlock shows up almost at the first 5 minutes of the movie. And he sets forth the events that are going to come after the movie. I did not think that Will Poulter would be a good Adam Warlock, because Adam Warlock is like a crazy big name in the Marvel universe. And when I'm thinking about Will, all I can remember is, spider bit my binky in that movie where he gets his junk bitten by a spider and falls unconscious. And I'm like, that's not Adam Warlock. But he looked the part. Definitely looked the part. And I gotta say, I did not know that dude was a Brit. He's talking in the movie, and I'm like, why is he using a British accent? I thought the dude was from Texas. I'm like, why is he using a British accent? What's up with that? Later, I looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. He is from London. Who knew? I guess other people besides me. But he did look the part, but I don't like the way they portrayed Adam in the show. It was a solid movie. It was a good movie. I enjoyed the movie. It has probably, not in all of Marvel, but in Marvel theaters and Marvel movies, it probably had the best hallway fight. I mean, it was like 2 or 3 minutes long of just knuckling up in the hallway, and everybody got their own little special minute, well, not a minute, but a few seconds here and there where they were fixated on that character. This guy is doing this. This gal is doing that. Oh my God, somebody got hit, got their neck broke, but they kept fighting. It was a really good fight. Because, you would think, how does a team like the Guardians of the Galaxy that doesn't have an Incredible Hulk or a Thor or a Wanda Maximoff or Doctor Strange, these powerhouses, how are they going to go and fight an army? Made it believable, man. The way they portrayed it, the way they showed the movie, you're thinking, oh, okay, all right, okay, I could see that. They could, maybe, possibly. It added a little bit of credence to the fact that there's only a few of these guys. They're not, super powerful and everything. You know what? Spoilers. Spoilers are coming right now. Man, are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. So, Quill gets back with the new version of Gamora. And I don't think he's long for Gamora, because in the comics, Adam Warlock and Gamora are a thing, or they were. So now that Adam Warlock's there, she's pretty much his Mary Jane. She's pretty much his Lois Lane. That's his girl. So I'm like, well, they had to break them up. They had to have a reason to break them up. Adam Warlock in the comics is a tactical giant. He's crazy strong. He's fist fought with Thor, and he's a tough dude. You know, it's hard to kill him. And even if he did, if he's got a soul gem, he's probably coming back. But it's hard to kill him. He's a tough guy. He can live in space. He can fly through space. He's got a lot of energy / magical powers. And he's a tough dude. But he's equally smart and tactically, incredible. I'd put him up against a Captain America or Batman as far as tacticians go. And he's probably better than both, to be completely honest, because he orchestrated the events that defeated Thanos. Crazy powerful Galactus, Thor, Namor, the Submariner, freaking She-Hulk, the X-Men. Everybody fought Thanos in the comics when he had that glove, and it wasn't coming off his hand. He figured out a way to get it. He outsmarted him. He's tough. He could have fought him, but he was going to lose. But he outsmarted him. And that's big in the books. And it's big in his movie because he's not that smart in the movie. They made him a child. They say that the reason he acted like that is because he was taken out of the incubator too soon and he still had the mind of a child. So I'm thinking, are they going to put him back in there to make him the smart guy that he's supposed to be? Because of course he survives the movie. Or is he just going to slowly, like Groot, slowly evolve into the mega genius that he is? I don't know. But I'm curious about what they're going to do. Now, two things that I noticed in this movie that I'm kind of curious about, kind of curious where they're going to go. There's two after credit scenes, you need to know that. But in one of them, when the new Guardians get together, they're running towards an enemy. One girl there, her fists light up with energy and one of her eyes glows. She is the comic book version of Nova. She's another person that took the name Nova. So she's got energy / light-based powers. Sort of like the Marvels. That movie's coming up. Maybe she'll have something to do with that. But she has light / energy-based power. She's essentially Marvel's Green Lantern, basically. And she's in there. So I'm wondering where they're going to go with that. They never called her Nova in that. And she was young during the scene, but they never called her Nova during that. But she is, I'm sorry, not Nova. Yeah, Nova, right? Quasar. I think it was Quasar. I think I made a mistake. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to put the name right across here so you can see it. And then another thing, the High Evolutionary, who should be a big threat and apparently has lived for between 300 to 3,000 years because he's got items 3,000 years old. He doesn't say he collected them himself, but he's in possession of them, and I'm wondering how to get those. And then he's got, he talks about doing experiments 300 years ago. So he's not a human. He's not. And if he is, he zapped himself and changed himself for something a long time ago so that he could live really long. But I don't think he's a human because he hints that he visited your world, Earth. So if somebody else's world, it ain't his. So he's not human. But in the comics, he's a human dude. He's a human dude that's just like really, really smart. And he experiments on himself, makes himself smarter. In the movie, there's a moment where he's got this tube, and he says he can quickly accelerate people, right? Or whatever. He can take a turtle, accelerated it into a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and it went nuts and tried to kill everybody, trying to break the glass that it was in, so he killed it. Then later, he uses that same gas, because it's a gas that he uses when he puts them in the tube, use that same gas and accelerates, like in seconds, accelerates a rabbit into like a rabbit type man type deal. And he does this with a few different animals. My thought is this: Rocket is abnormally smart. He's smarter than the high evolutionary thought he was going to be. In fact, he figures out a problem that the high evolutionary couldn't figure out. You know, in 100, 300, at least 300 years, Rocket figured it out the first time he looked at the machine. You know, he'd never seen it before, and he knew what was wrong. He knew how everything worked, and he knew that something was wrong. He told them, they fixed it, bang, it worked. So Rocket is crazy smart. Maybe a mutation, maybe he's a mutant, but what I'm thinking is that gas is actually Terrigen Mist. The Inhumans, like the TV, you've seen the TV show, I apologize. That TV show was not a good representation of that group. But if you've seen the TV show, you know that there's a Terrigen Mist. If you read the comic books, you know there's a Terrigen Mist. They use that to evolve their people into the godlike, superhuman, quasi-mutant type people that they are. They all got superpowers. So could this be where that comes from? And if so, they can use that to introduce both mutants and the Inhumans, because the Terrigen Mist creates the Inhumans. Rocket could possibly be a mutant, possibly an Inhuman, and they're already starting to introduce different mutants. This could step on that and take it to another level. I think that's where they're going with that, because they specifically used a mist. It wasn't like an electric ray, or, you know, the lights went out and then all of a sudden, poof, it was a half man, half rabbit. They hit him with a gas. Terrigen Mist. You heard it here first. I'm thinking that's what it is. The little girl, she's a superpower person, and she's on a team. I'm still thinking that was Quasar. I think that was Quasar. I think it was Quasar. So they've got the new team consists of, remember, this is spoilers, consists of Adam Warlock, the Quasar girl, the dog with the telekinesis, Rocket, and the guy with the yucca staff. Now he can whistle and blow it and fire it all over the place, the arrow. So it's a good team, and they can build on that. Eventually, I'm thinking Adam's going to get smarter and he's going to take over the team and the franchise. I don't think they used the high evolutionary the way they should have. He's a big name in the comic books, and they introduced him on the trailers as if he was going to be this huge threat. But mostly, the show was about them, you know, sneaking into places, getting into fights that had nothing to do with him. He only displayed a big display of his power one time. That was it. You know, he walked around and he said stuff, and he held up one finger to command everybody in the room to be quiet, and everybody did, you know, so clearly they know stuff about him that we didn't know. You know, somebody hold up one finger and tell you to be quiet, you're probably like, dog, what you doing? But if it was like, you know, somebody you know that would beat the brakes off you, then yeah, you'd probably be quiet. And he did that, and everybody was quiet. So I was like, okay, well, they're clearly scared of him. He's been around for hundreds of years. Some people in some parts of the galaxy, they say, consider him a god. Probably been around longer than 100 years, because Quill said humans die at 50 years. And Mantis was surprised by that. She said, what's the use of living? 50 years. So clearly she lives longer. And Drax was in the corner kind of nodding his head. So clearly Drax's people live longer than that also. So 300 years might not be that impressive to some people in the galaxy, but he's lived long enough that people think he's a god. So he's probably been around a long time. There was a cameo or two in there. I gotta get back to that fight. That fight in the hallway, that hallway fight was good. It was real good. It was probably, like I said, the best in a movie that I can think of off the top of my head. The best hallway fight I've seen in a movie. It was pretty good. I enjoyed this movie. It was nice. It was a good ending. Some of the characters are gone. Some of the characters are coming back. You'll have to watch the movie yourself to see who's who. It was good. 2 Easter eggs, 2 post-credit scenes. Stay for them. Don't leave till the lights come off. I watch a movie nowadays, I don't leave until they start sweeping the floors. But this was a good movie, man. So good that I would give Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 8 bags of popcorn. 8 bags of popcorn. It was a good, solid ending. It's not a 9. Definitely wasn't an endgame 10. But I'm going to give it a solid 8. 8 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I think about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Next start the video. Let's talk about it in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like. Probably the last video I'm going to do for a little while. I am in the midst of moving. So I'm going to be tearing all of this stuff down and sticking it in boxes and then getting out of town. I'm going to be moving. Probably do a video about moving. Probably do a video about going someplace else. We'll see.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.